So Kamaru Usman is back and more delusional than ever. Because it's nearly been a long 2 years since we've seen Usman last fight, and a lot can happen in that time, like Usman needing to get knee surgeries, or starting his pound for pound podcast, or getting more knee surgeries. Hell, the last time Usman fought, Jon Jones hadn't even started ducking Tom Aspinall yet. That's how long it's been. But this weekend, he'll be taking on Joaquin Buckley, and honestly, I think he's cooked. I mean, even the poster for the event has some kind of police siren aesthetic to it. Maybe because we're going to have to be calling the cops once Buckley's done with him. Which Buckley himself on a generational run right now, taking out all the unks in the division, beating Wonder Boy Colby Covington, and the last unk in his way, Kamaru Usman next. And I, for one, couldn't be happier. Not because I'm some kind of Usman hater, I'm just a really big Buckley fan. I might even be as much of a Buckley fan as Buckley is a fan of Usman.
This so real, guys. I'm with Usman, boy.
I mean, I don't know if I'd fanboy that much, but hey, I get it. It's a big moment for Buckley's career, and it's a passing of the torch. Kind of like an Adesanya versus Silva type moment. Maybe not that far, maybe like a dollar store version. Or maybe I'm just looking a bit too much into a face-off, and I don't know who would do that.
His body language, but just his demeanor. Him taking in a deep breath before he see me. Like, little details like that mean a lot to me.
Well, of course I took a deep breath. You have to breathe, you know. If you don't breathe, you pass out.
And that right there might be the most reasonable thing you're going to hear from Usman all week, because it feels like this fight week, there's been quite a lot of delusional yip-yap.
Keeping in mind that the belt is obviously something you still want, how do you see your path there?
My path there, well, just pretty simple. I just lay out the map right here. Is finish Buckley this weekend. Now having Islam come up into the division. You know, who wouldn't buy a ticket to that? Former pound for pound and current pound for pound. I think that's something that we will both remember forever. Win that and go ahead and probably vacate, go up. Dricus du Plessis, if he is the champion, or Khamzat Chimaev too. If Dricus is the champion, we'll do that in the first card in Africa. I mean, that's another blockbuster. These are back-to-back blockbuster fights that you tell your grandkids about. And then after that, you know, now you're sitting with 2 belts, and it's like, what do we do next?
It almost reminds you of the roadmap of him going from fighting Masvidal and Colby Covington to fighting Jan Blachowicz, just to get head kick KO'd by Leon Edwards. And I'll admit, I'm being a dickhead making fun of a legend's aspirations and goals right now. However, if he does achieve all that, I'll be the first to admit he's the f***ing GOAT. And it's not just me, even the top comments are saying the same thing. Yeah, not happening. Good to be back to hear some campfire stories from Uncle Kamaru. Strip Jon Jones. And hey, maybe he isn't looking past Buckley. Maybe he's going to be better than ever at 38, with his knees about to explode any second now, with a head that's a sniper's dream. Moving like a 2021 Usman knocking Buckley out, to then limp over to the camera with his glass knees, yelling to the cameraman, "Put some respect on my knees!" Or Buckley continues his generational run of beating all the unks in the division and targets those knees, like Jon Jones targets his fist into the mother of his children. And I feel pretty confident that Buckley's going to beat him. Granted, they're both welterweights, they're both tough, they're both jacked as hell, and, you know, the elephant in the room here, the most glaring similarity between the both of them, they both beat Colby Covington. And I mean, the odds are just massively stacked against Usman's favor. Maybe if this was him in his prime, I'd feel a bit different. But with those knees about to blow any second now, pushing 40, being on a 2-year layoff, and every welterweight champion since Woodley losing their belt have never won a fight. Though it's not like Usman's scared to take on an MMA curse. I mean, the man without any hair follicles on his head dared to take on the haircut curse. I don't even see the point of mentioning their age. I mean, compare the hairlines of both of them. It's not even fair. This man Buckley has a hairline that his opponents could only dream of. Not even mentioning the fact of Buckley having better hands, a speed advantage, and being more jacked than Usman, which, by the way, is quite the accomplishment, and generally well-rounded. And last we saw of Usman, which was a good accounting of himself, showing good takedown defense and counter-grappling, you know, after Khamzat gassed out after a round of beating Usman's ass. Doesn't really feel quite relevant against Buckley, who's going to be running around trying to take Usman's head off, or potentially trying to oblique kick his knees that are on life support. Or hell, why even stop at oblique kicks? I've seen this man Buckley creative enough to just punch people's knees out. And until a doctor shows me some x-rays of Usman's knees looking good and healthy, I just genuinely worry for this man. Probably doesn't seem it. It seems like I'm a hater, but honestly, I'm just a dickhead. I can't really help it. I just think Buckley's going to beat him, but I hope they both do well for themselves here. Especially Usman, who I honestly think will be retiring after this fight. And it feels like his roadmap for his future plans comes across more as like a last-ditch effort to milk the remaining part of his career until those knees completely blow on him. Either it's that or, you know, he's genuinely delusional.
And it's not far-fetched. Did any of those plans seem crazy? No. So I think I'm in a position to where we could potentially make those things happen. So
I mean, it sounds fucking ludicrous, but I respect it, especially a lot more than John Jones's plan of moving up a division to avoid a contender for 2 years straight. And even the way he words some of these plans he has, it even feels like it's some kind of last effort to milk as much legacy as he can for himself.
That would be a great outing to go out there and get another blockbuster before I sail off.
And knowing the UFC hates people winning belts just to drop it immediately, I don't know why he'd publicly mention that part. Unless you're John Jones, of course, then the UFC will let you keep it till the day you die, and you can just avoid anyone you want. And listen, Usman's the second greatest welterweight of all time and an absolute legend, but I don't understand why he thinks it's 2019.
If everything goes right on a fight night, what message do you want to send to the rest of the division?
well, they know what's up. I have been and always will be the boogeyman of this division, so they know what's up with me.
I mean, he's on a 3-loss streak. He's been out for 2 years, and he got knocked out by Leon Edwards, of all people. I mean, even in the time Usman's been out, all his opponents he's beaten are all washed and gone. Even the guy that took the belt from Usman is considered washed by now. I mean, forget the 2-year layoff. The man hasn't even won a fight since 2021 against Colby Covington, who Buckley beat his ass and turned him into a shitty kick streamer and seemed to be in denial by the fact that Bilal Muhammad was the champion.
What happened?
We were on this podcast and Henry Cejudo was like, you know, how does it feel to be champion? And, you know, you're at the top now. And I was like, you know, it feels good right now because everybody wants to listen to you. Everybody thinks you're the champ. Usman's like, I was a champ too. It's like, yeah, but you're not the champ anymore. And then he just couldn't let it go. He's like, but I'm right there. I was like, nah, bro, you're on a 3-fight losing streak. And he's like, I still had the belt. And I was like, I'm the champion now. But he just couldn't give me my props, right?
Oh.
It was just one of those where he was just like, anything you do, I do better than you. And then I was like, but you didn't take the head kick better than me. And I think that just like triggered him, where he was just like, I don't play these games, man. It's on sight when people talk like that. And I'm just like, we're right in front of each other on site.
Oh, you guys did it in person?
Yeah, it was in person.
Oh, because they do it over Zoom sometimes too,
No,
right?
this was in person. Henry Cejudo twisted his ankle, had to break it up.
I almost got kicked, bro. Like, there was punches were thrown, dude. And I had a messed up ankle at that time. And Bilal almost kicked me to my head, dude.
So not only is Usman on a 3-loss streak, but also apparently picked up a Bilal Muhammad L during his 2-year hiatus. And the whole MMA community knows this an L since he's refused to post a podcast and avoided Bilal ever since.
If you dropped it, Bilal, and if you dropped it, that shit went
In
180.
typical-
So my
Sure.
thing is
in typical,
will
in
that
typical-
180 be shown?
In typical Bilal fashion, of course, Bilal did Bilal. So the interview didn't go as planned. It wasn't that great of an interview anyways. It wasn't even that long. That was the biggest moment of his life because that's all that he seems to want to talk about. I haven't mentioned it at all because it wasn't that eventful.
No, it sounds like the most exciting Bilal Muhammad fight there's ever been, to be honest. Also sounds like you don't mention it because it didn't look good for you. Because had you beaten up a champion on your own podcast, that's probably a golden ticket to a title shot.
We will definitely drop the interview if we get really, really low on content. I mean,
Damn.
why not? Drop it. I mean, to be honest, it's the biggest moment of his life. That's why he talks about it every second.
Yeah, nothing says I care about content more than we won't be posting a podcast all of the fans have been begging for months, where Usman fought a UFC champion at the time. Nah, we'll rather post content with the most delusional takes like this.
To be honest with you, I still go back to the Edwards fight, the second one with the takedown. I don't consider that a takedown. I consider that me tripping.
And I can't stress this enough, I really am not an Usman hater, despite me kind of shitting on him this video. Do I think his legacy's overrated? Yes. Do I think Buckley's gonna beat him? Yes. But you know, he's cool. And even if this is the end, I'm always gonna be there to watch the Pound for Pound podcast featuring Kamaru Usman alongside his co-host.
Sign up to my boy's YouTube channel. That is JG2. And for those who don't, you can do me a favor and you can bend the knee to King Triple C too.